Hello and welcome to the Aid Station. I'm Chris Robb, and today we head to the United Kingdom. We head to Birmingham, in fact, to meet Eleanor Western, who's the Director of Logical Safety Solutions. A really interesting story of some people say you're crazy setting up a business in COVID times. Eleanor and her partners have taken a real plunge and had initial success, and really looking forward to hearing her story. Great to meet you, Eleanor. How are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to catch up, and as always, love to start with people's background. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about your background, please?
Yeah, sure. So I definitely didn't come into events or health and safety through a kind of traditional or planned route even. It was very much kind of accidental, shall we say. So I did a degree in tourism management, and after that I worked in the construction industry, which led me to the kind of town planning sector. So I worked as a town planner for a while, then did a master's in planning, and then worked as a development control officer, which is sort of the person that goes and looks at planning applications and approves or rejects the planning applications. And I worked for a kind of large corporation based here in the UK called Capita. And we worked for lots of different local authorities all over the country. And that kind of led me to a sort of accidental meeting with a colleague called Mesh Ruparelia, who it was in the Capita event safety team. And I did some planning and licensing applications for him on a really exciting event at Battersea Power Station. And I suppose you could say the rest is history. And I kind of, once I got involved in the event safety world and the events world, I was really hooked. It was just such an interesting and kind of dynamic industry, and one that I think I didn't really know existed until I kind of started working in it. And I eventually transferred over to the event safety team, which was the kind of the best kind of learning experience that you could ever wish for, because the diversity of talent and the people that I worked with within that team were just, they were just really incredible. And the events that we worked on were just, amazing. So like London Marathon, lots of the Limelight events, we're talking about 10 years ago now. So obviously running up to the Olympics, we were doing film premieres, kind of royal celebrations and events, just every really big and prominent event we were involved in some way, and it was just, it was an incredible experience, and got to work with some great people in some fantastic venues with some great colleagues. So yeah, I just, I never looked back from that really. It was just, it was like, wow, this is for me. I'm definitely gonna stick with this. So yeah, that was it really.
Wow, fantastic. And that's so great to have had that opportunity to have that path. And sounds like you've worked on, some of the events that some people could only dream about, which is an incredible opportunity. And then I guess you kind of fast forward to now, COVID comes along. And you were sharing before we started recording, you and two people that you've met through the industry have gone out and set up logical safety solutions. And I'm sure many people have said to you, what are you doing? You must be crazy setting up a business in COVID times. But you've had great initial success and laid a great foundation. And I'm guessing in many ways, safety solutions at a time where safety is absolutely critical, right place, right time. But tell us a little bit about what life's like at the moment. I mean, generally, what's life like in the UK? We read that you're just going down into another lockdown. You tell us a little bit about your business and current life, please.
Yeah, so after my time in the Capita events team, which kind of sort of disbanded, I worked for different companies and still worked with some of the same colleagues, which was really nice. And I think kind of as COVID hit, it kind of became really obvious that there was going to be some organisations that kind of just sort of kind of buckled down and wanted to weather the storm and kind of let it pass. And I think me and my now two colleagues, Chris and Alan, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to get out there and keep working, and we wanted to be helping the industry get back on its feet. And we knew that if any industry could survive, it would be the event industry. There's such an amazing collection of people that work in events that are so talented at thinking of solutions, at, you know, working out how they can create, you know, amazing events in all sorts of conditions, all sorts of scenarios and situations. So we knew that there would be people that were already thinking of, how can I put on an event with COVID? How can I take that into consideration and still create a fantastic event? So we knew that there would be people that would share our vision. So we really wanted to keep going and keep working. So we set up Logical Safety Solutions. We've just had a real shared vision of kind of working in an ethical way, in a professional way. And we, you know, you don't work in events unless you have a real passion for events, because, you know, the money's, you know, you're not going to retire at 45 because you just want to keep going. It's almost like an addiction. You tell people that you work kind of ridiculous hours in wet, muddy conditions, and, you know, you kind of, you tell them the kind of raw side of it, and they're like, why would you do that? And you're like, because there's just something incredible about, you know, creating an event, seeing it come together, and then packing it away again and knowing that everybody's had a fantastic time. You just can't kind of, so yeah, we set up, it's not been the kind of the, you know, the easiest route. There's been some challenges, but nothing kind of that we haven't been able to collectively overcome. Obviously, we'd always like to be busier, and when you work in events, you're used to working really long hours, you're used to being away most weekends, you're used to being, you know, really, really busy, which, you know, we're not really, really busy. We're busy enough, which is, you know, which is good. So yeah, it's definitely been a challenge, but it's been really so worth it. And the few events that we have worked on site for, and we've got together, it's just been so special, because you've just really, I think it took lockdown almost to make you realize how much you loved it, and how much, you know, you do miss it, and you miss the people, and how much of a part of your life it is. So yeah, it's been great to kind of to come through that with Chris and Alan, who, you know, I get on really well with as well. I mean, aside from the kind of work life, I've got 2 young sons, so they were obviously off school and nursery for the whole of the summer, which was definitely a challenge. My health and safety and event organising skills were really put to the test with risk assessing their activities offered in the garden, in the house, and various science experiments and similar. But it's been good on the whole. I think it's made me really realise how much of a community the events world is, and how much you miss seeing people. But yeah, we're now back in the second lockdown, so we're halfway through a lockdown. It's slightly different this time in that the schools are open, which is great. But you are on this sort of roller coaster of uncertainty of when the schools will close. So far, my youngest, his year group has closed twice, so he's already had a month off school, and he's only done 3 months of school in his life, and a month of that has been spent quarantined back at home. So yeah, it's just, you know, things continue to be very uncertain, and you just have to roll with the punches, as they say, and you just have to kind of find different ways of getting through things.
Yeah, and so I mean, you know, challenging enough. I got one little 6-year-old, and you know, we didn't have a massive lockdown, but you know, trying to find things for them to do and get your work done and all that kind of stuff has an impact, particularly on a new business as an entrepreneur. You mentioned challenges a couple of times, but positively said you've overcome them. But what were some of those challenges? I guess, you know, there's people all over the world going through challenges, and one of the things I'm hearing is like, wow, it's great to hear, because sometimes I think I'm on my own, and then someone tells me they've had a challenge that they've overcome, and it totally resonates. What's a couple of the challenges that you have overcome?
Yeah, I definitely think kind of the biggest challenge that we're all facing across the industry is the kind of uncertainty of things. You know, as event organizers, you like to be organized and you like to plan and you like to kind of be prepared as you can. And definitely from a health and safety point of view, the COVID area, it's a new area for all of us, and we're all trying to take, you know, the best advice we can from, you know, the various sort of guidance, and also from, you know, the government, the latest government guidance, and trying to sort of work with, you know, that changing landscape of trying to understand what is permissible, or, you know, what we are allowed to do, which may very quickly change within the space of a few days, is definitely difficult. And I think dealing with people's personal feelings about the virus is also quite difficult, because I think whilst lots of people are, you know, you almost have two sides of the fence. You have some people that are almost quite blasé about it, and not that they don't believe in it, but they're kind of, it hasn't maybe affected them directly, and they just don't think it's as big as an issue. And then you have other people that are very anxious and nervous and wary and kind of, and very risk averse. They think, you know, doing hosting event might be inappropriate. It's, you know, morally not a good idea to be having events while, you know, people are in hospital and, you know, people are mourning loved ones. And so it's really walking that fine line of what is acceptable and trying to kind of, you know, keep going and keep the momentum moving and keep things happening in a positive way, whilst also making sure that people are safe, that they are taking the necessary measures, making sure that people who maybe are resistant to wearing, you know, face coverings while at work and following those sort of COVID rules, making sure that they understand the importance of that as well. So I think it is really, really the challenge that we faced on site and on you know, with some not necessarily clients but contractors, is just really trying to kind of instill that message and enforce it. So that's definitely been a big challenge. And I think, you know, for everyone, it's just been the whole uncertainty of everything, of just, you know, one week things could be looking very positive, and the next week, you know, we're back in lockdown and things aren't looking positive. I think another really practical sort of challenge for me has been childcare, because, you know, the kids are at school, but they're not allowed to see anybody else outside of school. So there's no childcare provision in place. And, you know, when the schools do shut, you know, unexpectedly because of a confirmed case, you then are effectively having to self-isolate your child, and again, find things for them to do, find childcare, rearrange work, try and work. I had a SAG meeting last week where, you know, my 4-year-old was also trying to, you know, show me his fire engine, and I was trying to, you know, walk the fine line of presenting and, you know, delivering important information, but also make sure that, you know, he's okay. So yeah, I mean, and they're challenges that I think every, you know, working parent is facing at the moment as well, really.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think it's brought a more human side to things. I remember that, you know, it got world coverage, and I forget the name of your minister that was doing an interview, and, you know, the kid crawled in, and it was kind of like, you know, he was mortified, but that's such a norm now, and I think it's wonderful. I must admit, I commented after that. I
Yeah.
said I thought he missed an incredible opportunity to be human in that situation. It was obviously before COVID, but what a great opportunity to kind of pick up the kid and embrace. He would have got this incredible kudos if his PR people had been sitting there saying that's going to happen. You would have almost staged it, but now it's a part of life, and it's wonderful. We get to see other sides of people and understand their families and so on. Time flies, as always. I love to end on something inspiring. I mean, you've been around the industry. Yours is an inspiring story, taking this, you know, this leap of faith and setting up your business. Is there something that's inspired you in life, or a story that you've seen from an event, or something inspiring that you'd like to leave the viewers with, please, Eleanor?
I think definitely working in the event industry opened my eyes up really to what great female leadership, and how much it felt much more of an equal industry in terms of representation amongst men and women. And I've got some, luckily, worked with some fantastic clients like Limelight Sports, who have some amazing women
Yeah.
who are really leading their sort of teams really in a really positive way, which is definitely really inspirational. I mean, I think for me, one of the real key things that I took from this year is that is not to be scared, is to take a risk. And I think, for me personally, setting up logical safety solutions, I don't think I would have been brave enough to do it without the kind of leadership and support of my colleague Chris Woodford, who I've worked with for a long time, and he's worked across lots of different sectors. He's got a really kind of incredible history, and his leadership throughout the years has just been really really inspiring, but also very comforting. So he's not doing it for his own benefit. He's very pragmatic. He's very kind of straight down the line. And we've faced various kind of challenges and confrontations in the workplace, and he's just always led with real integrity and honesty.
Mm-hmm.
He will never sugarcoat things. And I think, especially at the moment, you need the honesty of, look, this might be the worst case scenario, but this is, and this might happen, this is likely, but we will deal with it through these ways, which I think for me, and I think for lots of people, they want that kind of that real sense of knowing what to do and what is the worst case scenario, but also how we can get over it. And even if the worst does happen, it's not the end of the world, we can deal with it, rather than just sort of burying your head in the sand and being like, things will be fine, things will be fine, it will pass. He's very much like, okay, things might get bad, but we can cope with it.
Find a solution.
So I definitely think he's been a real inspiration throughout my career, and has taught me so much. I think the other kind of inspirational side of the COVID has definitely been the kind of community side of things. So I mean, on our street, we kind of knew some of the neighbours, but one of the first things that we did when we went down into lockdown was one of my neighbours. We kind of flyered all the neighbours. We set up a WhatsApp group to make sure that we're all in touch with each other and to provide support. And we've done lots of kind of, COVID safe sort of street activities for various VE days and remembrance days. And we've really kind of come together as a street, which has been really nice to kind of create that community on the ground, and supported each other when, various people have had to go into isolation with, simple things like shopping or, dropping a cake round or doing toy swaps between the children, just to keep things kind of, a bit fresh and exciting for the kids. So I think the kind of, the local, real local community has been really inspirational for me. And then on the professional side of things, I found that there's been a real coming together on LinkedIn of different people kind of engaging with people and sharing sort of supportive messages, and a real sharing of information and experiences. And I've talked to lots of other safety advisors from I suppose competitors really,
yeah.
And we've shared ideas and we've shared experiences so that collectively we can get through this and we can come together, which has been, I think, really, really positive. So lots of positives, I think. And I definitely think as an industry, we're strong enough, diverse enough, dynamic enough. We will come through this. Things might not be exactly as they were, but things will, probably be a lot better because we've had time to reflect and improve. So, yeah, I think it's there's lots of inspiration out there.
Wonderful. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think, that collaboration, that community, the role that, smaller communities within the event industry and community in life is kind of what mass participation is all about, isn't it? We're a community of you're a runner or you're a triathlete, you participate in these events, and I think it's just going to be wonderful as we come out of it. Eleanor, wonderful to meet up with you. Thanks so much for making the time. Wish you all the best. Congratulations on taking the bold decision, and hope it continues to grow and flourish. And obviously, safety is going to be a crucial part as we move forward. I mean, this is here to stay, no doubt. There's always going to be an increased focus on safety, however we come out of this. So I think you're in a great space, and just wish you all the best. And thanks for making the time. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.